Hello, it is me, Mr. Davey, and it is time for FAM. That is our Fine Art Makers program, the online edition. Today, you can probably tell we're doing something a little bit different because there's no art behind me. There's just some blue wall. I decided that it would be fun to explore different ways in which we can actually paint without using a paintbrush. So you're going to, just take that idea of using a paintbrush to paint with and just throw it out the window. Because we are going to be using some stuff you can find around the house and some other tools that artists can use in order to paint. So what are you going to need today? That's kind of a hard question to answer. First, you're going to want something to paint on because we are going to be using paint today. You're going to need some paint. I'm going to be using just a solid color paint, a black paint on a piece of white paper to actually really see the different effects that are created with different things you can find around your house. And other tools that artists use to paint with. So before you choose your items to paint with, and I'll show you some examples in a moment, so you might want to pause it now, and then when we get to the part where I start showing you some of the things I'm going to be using, pause it again to see what you can collect, is make sure it's okay that you're able to use what you're using the paint with from your grown-up. It's very, very important. Make sure your grown-up says it's okay that you can use this to paint with, because there's a good chance it will get ruined in the process of using it to be painted with, depending on what it is and what it's made out of. And I don't want you guys ruining anything important. So go ahead and pause, get what you need to start with, and I'll join you in a moment for what I'm going to be using to paint with today. Hello, and welcome back to FAM. So what I'm painting on today is just a piece of poster board, just because I want to be able to have a lot of surface so I can show you different things. I'm using a black paint, and let me show you some of the stuff I'm going to be using today to paint with, to give you some ideas. Tin foil, lots of different things I could do with this. I'm going to be using some toothpicks, some craft sticks, some solo cups, some toothbrushes, and do not use a toothbrush that you brush your teeth with. I was able to pick these up at like the dollar store, super cheap. Some Q-tips, a plastic card. If your parents have any old hotel room keys, anything like that, these work really well to do some really cool stuff with paint. I have a plastic fork, knife, and spoon. And then I'm also going to be using something called palette knives, which are something that artists use to work on their art with. So I'm just going to start off with the solo cup. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take it, dip it in my paint, and then just do some circles. I'm not sure exactly, I have no idea what the painting is going to look like because I'm mostly just showing you what you can do with this stuff. So this is one way, kind of making an imprint of the lip of the solo cup, or I can always dip it in, put it down, and then slide it across the table and get some really kind of cool effects. Oh, my paper slid. But you could use everything here in different ways. You just have to think about how you want to manipulate the object. Now I'm going to take the tin foil. With the tin foil, I'm going to crumble it up a little. I'm just going to lightly dip it in the paint. And then just kind of just move it around. And look at these awesome kind of lines and scrapes I'm getting out of it. And I'm going to go over this because I saw some wet sections and just kind of drawing it out. And I mean, it's just making some really cool scrapes with the paint. Take a toothbrush. Now, toothbrushes can get kind of messy depending on what you do with them. Because you could, kind of brush. And like right now, like I said, I'm not really painting anything, just kind of showing what different things do. Or if you just get a little bit on there, not the brushes, you can, and this can be kind of messy, because I've done this before. Let me try the other toothbrush. And I'm using a thicker paint today, so It's not as liquidy where normally I could get some really good kind of splatter effects. Now this could be kind of a little messy because it is kind of flicking paint. And it's doing a little bit here. It's making a faint kind of splatter pattern there. That works a little bit better when you use a more liquidy type paint. This is really thick, just because I really wanted to get it goopy on the different things that I'm using. So I'm gonna get a spoon. Just gonna. Oh, and that really lays on thick. That's cool. So a little more paint down. And the one cool thing with using these sorts of things, like if you're using like an oil paint or a really thick paint like this, it kind of adds another layer to your painting where you could see lots of thick layered paint where it just, it'll take a little bit longer to dry, but it's very tactile-esque. Ooh, let's get a fork. Let's see what the fork does. That might be fun. That's kind of cool. You just play with it, figure out what you want to, how the fork can paint. And what I'm going to do is, like after showing you all the different way these things paint, I will go back and get another piece of paper and actually create some sort of picture with using these materials. And now probably one of my favorite things to do is the card. This is always a lot of fun. I always like painting with the cards. Because I just like the way it moves the paint around. Which is probably why, as soon as I get to them, why I like palette knives so much. Because I like the way they just put the paint on the paper. Because I mean, with, just can make a line. I feel like I'm making a very abstract piece of music art or something. I don't know. It's kind of fun. And like I won't get to all the different things I brought out today. Well, let's, with our Q-tip, we could just make lots of dots. Kind of like with pointillism, just lots of dots over and over. Or when we did it, the Aboriginal dot painting. That was kind of fun. Little dots all over the place. So it's kind of fun that you could pretty much just do... I actually feel like I'm doing a really abstract piece now. But one of my favorite things to use are actually palette knives. And this is probably one of my favorites. Artists use palette knives to mix their paints if they're working on with a palette board, or they'll use it directly on a painting. And I've always liked the way palette knives move paint. And like I have this glob of paint here, I could just cut through it and do different things to it. Same thing with up here. I just like the way the paint goes on there and stays, and I could change it. Let's try this. Let's try this little guy here. And I kind of want to have fun and just scoot this paint out from here. It's almost like a flower or a sun of some sort. Just moving that paint out. And like if you're using different, like multiple colors, it really helps cut through stuff. Moving my thing around. I really do feel like I've created some sort of abstract piece of art just by showing you what these different things can do. And let's take the good old craft stick. Let's see what we can do with this. And some of these things I've never painted with before or tried, especially with a craft stick. I really like this. Oh. Should I tape down my paper? Having too much fun. But that's the great thing about art, you just have fun with it, just enjoy what you're doing. I'm using the side here to cut through the paint, showing other levels of it. And one more thing which I did not show you earlier that I had. I have a straw here. And I could, this is really holding paint well. And who knows, maybe I might go back and when this dries some, come back with another color and just add to it. Because I don't know what I've made here, but I'm really digging it. I'm really feeling the art in it. Like they say sometimes, the best art is just all happy accidents. And I kind of feel like that is what this is. And this is kind of like a fun short little thing that you could do, just trying different things that you could paint with at home. I'm really digging the straw. I've never painted with a straw before, but I really like what it's doing, especially with this paint. So like always, we do have FAM in person now. You just have to register it for beforehand, and slots are limited. So if you want to come and attend in person, we do supply all the art supplies. You just have to register online. And we always like to see your art, so if you want to post your art below or send us pictures of your art, that is always welcome. And if there's an artist you'd like to see us do or an art style you'd like to see us try, please feel free to let us know, because we're always looking for your input on what we should do next. So until next time, this is Mr. Davey saying goodbye and keep making art. Bye, everybody. Bye.